Welcome to another session of learning Latin with closed games. I'm just going to get started with a session in the book of Matthew. So I'm going to click on the book. We'll get started. I'm going to shorten the ritual to get started. As I've already said, I make the habit more obvious by seeing the painting and hearing the prayer. The question is, of what use is Catholic ritual for the learning of Latin? I think it's pretty useful because prayer is typically a daily ritual. Even if you're just simulating it, you're not exactly that pious, because perhaps the ultimate goal is really to read the pagan Romans, not the Bible of Christianity, the Vulgate. But that said, let's go to the Gospel of Matthew. And I typically read this out loud as I play in the restored classical pronunciation. Take a moment to look at the text. Sexta autem hora tenebrae factae sunt super universam terram usque horam, probably nonam. I played this before, but sexta ad nonam, and we can check the translation if we're not sure, even though we see all green. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. Sexta autem hora tenebrae factae sunt super universam terram usque ad horam nonam. And not much to say grammatically about that. Tenebrae, the feminine plural, factae sunt, and that's about it. Com autem introvisset Capharnaeum, ac caesit ad eum centurio, blah, 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 eum. So probably Rogans. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him, who? A centurion, beseeching him, Com autem introvisset Capernaum, ac caesit ad eum, quis centurio rogans eum, etc. And sometimes if we're not sure who ac caesit, we can say quis in the Latin as we read. Anything to remark grammatically? If you learn Latin this way, or at least practice it, you will get used to the pattern of autem appearing in the second position of the clause. You will get used to com introvisset, the plusquamperfect subjunctive conjugation of the verb pairing with cum. And we see that, okay, plusquamperfect introvisset, subjunctive because cum, matches the perfect ac caesit, which introduces the next clause. However, you don't always have to analyze the grammar to death, but it's just nice to consent to these grammatical principles once your brain has assimilated enough data. So it's obvious at that point. Elis autem quaepit Iesus dicere ad turbas de Ioanne, quid existis in deseratum videre arundinem vento agitatam. This one I'm not sure how precisely to understand or parse this one. It's a new position, but illis autem blah blah blah, probably an ablative absolute. Quaepit Iesus dicere ad turbas de Ioanne, speaking to the crowd about John the Baptist. Quid existis, what or why, existis in deseratum videre, what or why did you go forth into the desert to see, or what did you go to see? Arundinem vento agitatam. Arundinem, reed. What went ye out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind. So with them, I'm not sure what verb to use for departed, but okay. Illis autem apeuntibus, as they departed, or with them departed, literally, and so on. Ordinarily, when you play, you don't talk about all these thoughts, but trying to demonstrate what a session might be like, although we'll, of course, touch fewer verses as we would in a session in which we only read the Latin out loud. Reliqui vero tenuerunt servos eius, et contumelia occiderunt. Contumelia occiderunt. Maybe it's an ablative singular feminine, and I don't know. And the remnant took his servants, reliqui vero tenuerunt servos eius, et contumelia. Not sure. Okay. Contumelia ad fectos occiderunt. So maybe the contumelia is an ablative singular, but I'm not sure. Just a guess. But those who were ad fectos, masculine plural, servos eius occiderunt. Azor autem genuit. Pretty trivial. The genealogy, probably in the first chapter of the book. Begat. And the autem is a second element of the clause. Hic cast enim sanguis meus novi testamenti, qui promoditis in remissionem peccatorum, remissionem peccatorum. Hic cast enim, here is my blood of the New Testament, which for many and remissionem peccatorum. And this one shed, not sure. For this is my blood of the New Testament. I'm not sure. Effunditur. New position, so it's red. And this is how we learn through this punishment, which is shed for the remission of sins. Qui pro multis effunditur in remissionem peccatorum. Et qui blah blah inter vos primus esse erit vester servus, et qui inter vos primus esse erit servus vester. Whosoever will be chief among you. Okay, qui voluerit inter vos primus esse erit vester servus. Of course, we got this one. It's all green. Anything to remark grammatically. As you play these verses that have two clauses, or really two parts, because qui voluerit inter vos primus esse, that's the compound subject. You see perhaps this is looks like a future anterior, but I think it's a subjunctive perfect. I'm not sure exactly which, but voluerit pairs with erit. So it's like a verb tense that's slightly before future. So it pairs with a future clause or a part of the clause with the verb conjugated in the future. You don't actually think all that as you do it. Having played thousands of verses with this pattern, it just gets into your brain. You don't need to approach it in a grammatical textbook first and then go read. You can read verses and have an idea of what they mean by reading the English in parallel. Et beatus est qui non fuerit scandalizatus in me. Just played this yesterday, so we're going to do the terrible thing of cheating from memorization. Scandalizatus in me, it's offended. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Et beatus est qui non fuerit scandalizatus in me. Et ecce leprosus veniens eum dicen domine, si ubis potes me mundare. And the leper coming, something him, probably a verb, because we have two, I don't know, gerunds, what are they called? Veniens dicens domine si ubis potes me mundare. So worshipped him, adoravit, adorabat. Why imperfect versus perfect? Exercise for the reader. Et ecce leprosus veniens adorabat eum dicens, quotes, Domine si vis potes me mundare. And you probably can't hear that, but the end of the ritual is signaled by Evan the Milner singing Gaudeamus igitur, etc., etc. And we see another painting of Jerome. This is an example of the use of Catholic ritual towards learning of Latin, whether for piety or for great pagan orgies with the Romans, Saturnalia, and so on. Vale.